this journey of discovery, find our souls aligned, embracing our differences, leaving judgments all behind. With open hearts we listen, with empathy we learn that we're all children of the same universe. It's our turn. Uncover the truth, let the wisdom shine through. We're all connected, every me and you. We are all Christ, we are all each other in this road of discovery. Sisters and brothers. It's time that we see I'm you and you're me. This is the truth that sets us free. Uncover the truth, sisters and brothers. We must love to know.
You know, at our old age,
Well, you know they can hear us.
I don't care. At our old age,
Well, wait a minute. I got to get things
well,
set
that's
up.
all right.
Well,
I'll tell you this.
You're trying to tell me
We,
all this stuff.
at our
And
old age, we learn how to have fun.
Is that what it is?
Uh-huh.
Fun. It's fun.
And laugh at each other.
Yeah, we definitely do that. We definitely do that. Hey, young men and young women and young men. I don't know where Pastor Norman is. He said he would be on tonight. I hope things are okay. Anyhow, glad you're with us today. Let me see who's here. There is Noel. Noel's the first one today. Hey, Noel.
No,
And Sandra.
no.
Hey. Can't hear me? You can't hear me now? Let me know if you hear me now. Well, I don't know where everybody is. Pastor Norman's supposed to be here, and other folk I know we're planning to be here. So did we come on early or something?
No.
Anyway, so many things going on. I'm just glad that you're with us. Those of you who are here, let me know. Thank you, Sandra. I had it muted, darling, when I first started, and sometimes I forget to turn it on, and that's just having a senior moment, I guess. Baby girl's down here waiting on a treat. Thanks, Noel. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. John Grease is in the house. Thank you, John.
Dr. J. Greason. JG.
I didn't see the beautiful orange moon this morning. I didn't get to see that.
See it now?
It's not orange.
It'll turn orange in a minute. You look at it.
No, it's not orange.
It'll turn green.
It's
all kinds
definitely
of colors.
not orange.
It'll work.
My eyes itching. Allergies are crazy this year. The trees are putting out pollen like. I looked on my deck. My deck is brown, and it had so much yellow powder on it.
Let me kiss it.
Quit. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You see what he's into today. We've been kind of doing some funny stuff today. So
we had some fun, didn't we?
Well,
sure did.
It wasn't fun at the time.
Well,
was it?
Scratch my back.
Was it fun at the time?
Scratch my back.
Look, John said it looks similar to that orange moon.
You ought to quit, John. John, we're gonna have to get together. You and John and Oh, John and Robert, man, we get together.
Oh
That'd be,
Lord, the two of them together.
oh, we'd
man,
have fun, John. Boy, we'd have fun with all of you if I could get together with you at a place. But in the meantime, I'll just think about you while we're having fun.
Yeah, I just got back from walking baby girl, and it's nice outside, but the pollen is really rough this year from the trees. The trees are really putting out pollen a lot, so that's why a lot of people are sneezing and coughing and stuff. So I hope you're doing okay with all of that. I need to inform. I think I'm gonna wait and inform
John
everybody
said
about.
he's ready.
He said, "I'm ready." What are we going to talk about tonight? Pastor Norman didn't
Oh,
pop in. Let's see
I don't know
going
what happened.
Yeah, normally he does, so I don't know what happened to him. But anyway, maybe he got tied up. I know he's been kind of playing caregiver for his mom.
Hot.
You've been working today.
I'm
Yeah,
working in the garage.
he's been working on his bike, trying to get it back where you can ride it.
Mm-hmm. Well, sure. I want to get it back where I can, but you can ride by.
I don't want to ride it.
I'm gonna fix it. Wait,
Uh,
I'm gonna put a set of seats on it where we can ride together.
I don't want to ride it.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-mm.
I think you're slow.
It's too much.
It's great.
It's
it ain't
too
no
much.
well, it's too much of us on it.
No, it's too much.
I had to put some more wind in the tires.
Anywho, hope you guys
You,
yes, anywho.
you.
Hope you guys are doing well today.
Oh, they doing good. Miss Sandra, thank you for the gifts you brought us this week.
We've had quite a few heart-to-heart talks today, haven't we? Started off this morning with hey, Sister Sharon, she just popped in here. And I know
Sharon
I
J.
need to let you
Hickball.
guys, I need to bring you in up to date, I guess, with some things that happened. Vern may not be on tonight because she's been helping Mama Chris. Sister Chris, unfortunately, had a stroke on yesterday morning.
Yes, she did.
Early yesterday morning. And was it yesterday morning or the day before? Because she spent the night in the hospital last night, so it was the day before. She had a stroke, and we're hoping that she'll bounce back. She's able to walk, and not quite steady, but she can walk a little bit, and she can talk a little bit, but she's still disoriented and can't say all of her words and things. So she's in a hospital right now. I'm not sure what's going to happen from there. I want to keep her in prayer and Kevin in prayer. And Laverne has graciously consented with her and Sister Chris's cousin, or niece, I'm sorry, to act as power of attorney to help her. So she set all that up earlier, way early. So she's being taken care of. I just wanted to bring you up to speed and let you guys know so you can be praying with her and praying with the family. She doesn't have a lot of family, so that's why Laverne has stepped in to do that. Laverne's got a big heart. She's got a big heart. So she may be on tonight, she may not. So for those of you who knew Sister Chris, that's what's happened. That's the latest. And then if you weren't on Sunday, I need to inform you about Brother Charles, who transitioned on Sunday morning. Haven't gotten a lot of information about his funeral, which will probably be Monday. Not sure yet. Just still working on things. And I'm not sure of all of the details, but we will make sure that you get that. And so keep him and his family in prayer, and Sister Pearl, who was acting as his caregiver. Keep them in prayer if you would. So there's just a lot of things going on. Maybe it was that orange moon, or whatever it called it, an orange sunset or sunrise. Maybe it was that orange moon that did it. I don't know. But anyway, we've got quite a few things that are concerning right now. But we are still here in the land of the living, and we must continue to remain at peace with what's happening and know that everything is, well, they always say in God's control, and God's got it all under control. But I know that it's all within their contracts. And so if it's in her contract to be completely healed, she'll be completely healed. And we pray for that to happen. So anyway, you got anything on your plate tonight?
Yeah, I'm
You
just.
got something on your plate?
Yep.
You want to go ahead and start it then?
Well, you said you're gonna do certain
No,
something. Okay.
that was it.
I'm gonna try to say this to you guys as respectfully to our government as much as possible to give you some insight to what is going on. Did somebody come in? Yeah, there he is.
He made it.
Okay.
Go ahead, honey.
And
Hey,
what
Sister Katrina.
you ready?
Yes.
What I saw was why what happened to us when we came into this I and it's not using a lot of terminology from uh, some of us that have studied the course. It might be in there, it may not be, but I want to say it to you as decently and
And-
respectful to
And
our.
those on with us right here now may not have ever even studied the course.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you what is going on in the psychological mental state, and I run into it twice today, and uh, by asking a question to 2 or 4 people, uh, has what is going on in our political arena, why things are going on like it is. And between the time of 6 this evening and now, Spirit began to show me in detail about what is going on in the psychological and mental state of the country. All over the United States and other countries, there's a great protesting going on. Up in what the music city is, Detroit. There's a lot of going on up there.
It's all everywhere.
Yeah,
now.
but anyway, here we go. I'm looking here in Genesis 1:26. And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness and let them have. Notice he said them before they were actually visibly, or you may say created, but at the same time, and God said. And when you see this word said, it is not literally voice control. It is a word that was trying to describe the indescribable functions of communication with God.
True. And we had a conversation this morning about how that we have so many terminologies and language, the Christian language,
Verbalizations,
religious language,
things, yeah.
spiritual language, and a lot of the words we don't even know what they truly mean, and I don't think the writers even knew what they truly meant.
Right.
It was just the best they could do with what they had discovered.
Right. Well, it was explained to me today about 3 or 4 people within the last month or so that I've run across that I would normally have. It's not a problem that I'm having. It's a finding out, a seeing, and spirit explaining to the mind what is going on, not only with our government, but with people around. Okay.
Hello, Pastor Norman. I think I got you muted. Let me unmute you. I'm sorry, young man. Good to have you with us today.
Glad to be with you guys.
Did you hear me when I started out?
I'm listening.
He's
Okay.
listening.
Okay. And when he said, let us, he was communicating these words. He didn't say these words like we say the Bible, the word, James, King James, Joe James, and Living Bible and all that. It was not invented during that time.
Well, there weren't even chapters.
No,
and
even
verses,
chapters and
right.
anything like that.
There
It
were
was
no
just
books.
yeah, and there wasn't no such thing as the different languages that were going on.
Yeah.
But it said, based on saying that Moses wrote all this, now that's not important at all. Who did it? No, it doesn't matter. is what has been revealed by spirit, by the heart, or by the true essence that explain the translation, interpretation, and prognostications and all that kind of stuff, investigations, and the process and of eliminating uh, words to try to describe that it cannot be said with words.
And would you agree that the majority of wars or disagreements are started over words?
Right. Now let me go on into it now. And he said, let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, which means that Adam was body wise, with spirit made on the same level of God, body wise. There was no resistance or separation. Adam was, if this is true, and I'm just making a parallel, Adam was in God, with God, and was God in the heavenlies, as best we can explain it, before ever this was printed out or whatever. Before even most, all of us came from the same source
Yes.
as eternal spirits.
Because there is only one source.
There's only one source. But he said, let them. Now he was talking to him, and say if you were standing there watching him or hearing him say, and you saw Adam, you said them means it's kind of like an adjective, added to, or you might say a conjunction.
Is it a pronoun?
I guess so. I don't know. But anyway, if it's a pro, it's a noun.
Whatever it is. What are you trying to say?
Hold on. Hold your stuff.
What if you ask my advice, you know.
Hold your stuff.
I mean, you just stopped her in the tracks.
Dog, yo.
Yeah.
Do I need to start over?
No.
Okay.
No, you good.
All right, hold it there. So, if you were there watching, you would not have seen anything in the physical realm until spirit was ready, or the essence that you were ready for its eyes to be open. This is the best I can explain that he said what he said to me. Now, here it is.
Okay.
When Jesus was born, he was, say physically, he was considered to be the second man, Adam. But if you go back all the way back through this, you see that was really no first or second man. It just was pronounced in our vocabulary, mental status, that it was 1, 2, 3, and
no,
2.
When you say there wasn't a second man, what are you saying?
All right. When I say, when in actuality, when God created, say for in Genesis, all these animals in the earth and all that, it was boiling down to 1, 2, 3, 4s, and 10s and 20s. But the earth, the water, the birds of the air, and I looked into this years ago, when he was saying that Adam was created in the image and likeness and then had dominion over the fish of the sea, that means that in order for him to have dominion over the fish of the sea, he had to be able to go into the water world and communicate with the whales. And believe me, they were much huger.
Yeah, everything was larger.
Larger than what it is now. When I get through with this, you'll understand why everything shrunk and seemed to be smaller.
And that's why we have evidence of the giant redwoods.
That's it. That's it. There you go. And they are signs. And dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air. That means that he even communicated with the birds and the flying creatures, which were huge. We used to think that dinosaurs came because of sin. No, and that definition of sin is more than you doing something that appeals to your conscience, or it grieves your conscience, or you weren't conscious of something, of all that kind of stuff.
Well, a lot of people think or have the misconception that the earth is just a few thousand years old, but it's billions of years old. So there have been multiple civilizations.
Oh, what you talking
about? The dinosaurs were at some point in mixed in all of that. So,
But they were not vicious. They were not vicious, and what do you call it? The animals eating meat, carnivores. Okay,
carnivorous. Mhm.
they were not that. Okay, here we go. Over the sea, the fowls of the air, and over the cattle. See, cattle. We think cattle just popped up in our time, but they existed way back
In the
before.
beginning, yeah.
If there is a word to say beginning, let's say it.
And we also know that Genesis is not actually the beginning of what happened with the earth, where
No,
the earth was
no.
actually created.
Okay, you on the ball now.
Okay.
Keep your eyeballs rolling.
Okay.
And so here we go. Cattle over all the earth. He said dominion, and in the same image.
Yeah.
That's what you see in the mirror when you look at your face and everything. That's an image. Uh, over every creeping thing. That means he could communicate with the woodpeckers, and he could communicate with
The ants.
the ants. And I've had that
The bugs.
experience of
Mhm.
talking to ants
Mhm.
in an out of body experience,
Mhm.
and fully conscious of what was going on. And it was
So the I remember there was a book we had called The Genesis Man
did the Genesis
the
man conquer
Genesis conquered
space?
space. Yeah. Yeah.
And so the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Now that's something.
Mhm.
Can you imagine an ant or a
1,000-leg bug.
thousand leg, but was big as this house?
And there are bugs that I've never even seen before that I've seen of late, and I'm like, what in the world is that?
Yeah,
Never seen that before. But anyway,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
he
let's
had
go on.
dominion over that.
And so God created man in his image, and the image of God. See, the image of God, not just the image of Christ, not just the image of the new birth experience, not just in it that you want to add on to it. But he
But
said,
source energy itself.
source energy. Yeah. And he said, image of
Mhm.
God, and created he, him, male and female.
Female created he them.
Them.
So it's like in the beginning, Adam was male and female.
All right. Now that's heavy. But
It
here's
is.
what I found out. Now, this was revealed to me, and I've read this for years, over 50 years. Uh, uh, it's amazing when you look at it. All of that creative ability is what and where and who we are coming from, if there is a coming from. I use the terminology coming from like it when you say coming from, like something was there and it split off.
It's who we were born out of.
Yeah, born out of.
Mhm.
But in actuality, there was no difference between, oh my God, here it goes. There was no difference between God and man.
That's it. That's true.
Can I
That's
chime
true.
in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, come on there, Joe Bill.
Okay, so again,
Uh-huh.
dealing with the recording, and like I said, we always get stuck on the King James version, which is several
Mhm.
translations later from the original. And so, of course, according to what has been presented to us through the writings, Moses is the writer of the author of Genesis. But we got to remember he had an experience with God. So going back to what Dad was saying concerning the speaking or saying, we know that a lot of the great prophets or mystics, they had these special experiences or divine experiences where really no language was really involved
That's right. That's right.
in their encounters. And so some of them was taken in like Paul said, he was taken to the third heaven. He don't
Mhm.
know if he was in the body or out of the body. So he had what we would say an out of body experience. So God could have just projected, like we talk about once again, with no words, projected all of this to Moses. But
Mhm.
again, through the years of translating, the word said was added into the text to help us to understand those that now are speaking languages. So
Mhm.
again, this was from an experience that Moses had with God. According to what Dad was just reading concerning Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, The Hebrew translation of that word image is phantom, which means man was a figure, uh, uh, um, figurative imagination of God, which means we are the shadow of God. That's what it
Yeah.
means to be the phantom. Man is a shadow of God, and so when you see God, or you see us, you see the shadow of God.
Though, boy,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
messed me up over
That's
that,
right.
boy.
And
I tell you.
and you remind me of Sunday. I said this, with God before anything else was created was completely unmanifest. There was no one else to see God, no one else to experience God. There was no form that God had to take in order to appear or present itself. So God was unmanifest. So without us, God is unmanifest, formless. So I wanted to say that too, because I was just saying, looking at what John Greason put up, and this is the concept that a lot of people have. So God had to have at least hands so he could form Adam from the clay. No, God didn't have to have hands. God's completely
No problem.
no problem with what you're saying. I'm just dealing with the misconception that a lot of people think when we talk about the image of God, they think because we look like God in our forms. That's not what it's saying.
And you have to remember that word image is not making reference to the shell, the body. That
Yes.
image again, we are the shadow of God, or the figure of God's imagination. And so the body was formed from the earth because God wanted that part of him to have dominion in the earth. And so it would have been illegal for a being to have dominion that again had, like Jesus, he was touched with our infirmities. He had to become flesh to experience what man was experiencing, and so to bring the awakening. And so that part of man was made from the earth. There's a connection. That was something I was teaching Sunday, how man has a connection to earth, and because of the unstableness of man, everything around us is unstable.
Yes. How about this, John? God created man so that God could have hands.
Oh, I love that, Mom. Oh, I love that.
We are the hands of God.
I feel my inside.
I love that.
Yeah, God created man so he could have hands.
At least hands enough to hold you.
God created man to have hands, to walk on the earth,
and legs,
to actually move in this earth and have dominion, like you're talking about. God created man for that reason, to have that experience for itself.
Exactly. And so Dad mentioned something else again concerning man having dominion over the fowls of the air, every creeping thing on the face of the earth, and also everything in the sea, all the fish as well as in the sea. And so man had to been able to communicate with all of these different beings to have dominion and subdue. But people never pay attention to the thing that's happening now. Because one of the biggest things, and I'm not talking about just this present time, but this has always been throughout history, when it came to man, there was a part that began to crave power, which we know that's egotistical. All right. In that particular verse, you never see that where he made the statement that we are to have dominion over one another. We were never to have this type of authority or power over one another. Collectively, as one, we were supposed to once again be the carekeepers or the gods of this realm, representing him.
Now you understand what happens to the God, physical, spirit, soul, body, whatever, that is causing nationalities. I don't want to get ahead of this, because there's a great big blast that I'm getting ready to lay on you.
We're waiting.
But what I saw and what was revealed to me about what is going on with the universe at this moment and what is going on with our government and all this other stuff is going on.
With the
And he showed
conflicts
me
in the world.
conflicts, yeah. Now, if you look at this, he created man in his own image, and it said here, and God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply. Now, the female side of God was the Holy Mother. We call her the Virgin Mary, but the Holy Mother, which with great respect, she is him in that side of him. But she was inside of Adam.
Now, you do realize that the word for God in Genesis actually is Sophia,
Okay.
which is a female version.
Oh,
So God
my
did
God.
not create all of this as a man. He created as the mother. He was the mother, the great mother.
And
Now,
you know
your
why?
children,
You do know why that word was used, because of the birthing process.
Uh-huh.
there you
That's
go again. You're gonna knock the ball.
and
There you go.
that's the terminology that had to be used, because he gave birth to all of this, or
Yes.
how do
Yeah.
you say he?
Yes.
God gave birth to all of this. So that's why they use the word Sophia for that.
Yeah.
in
So
Genesis.
there is the feminine aspect of God, and there is the masculine aspect of God. And then there is the non-gender aspect of God.
Yeah, there you go. Boy, I'm gonna cut a step in a minute.
And that's why he said it, and he, at the end of what Dad was saying, verse 27, God created he, him, male. And I love how I said, in the image of God created he, him.
Him.
See, we read too fast and we
He,
miss that part. In
him.
the image of God created he,
He.
him, male and female.
Yes.
Created
Yes.
he,
Yes.
them. Yeah.
And he said, created he him, male and female.
Mhm.
That means you get your mail on time, and it won't be too late.
So I'm feeling John today, because John is having the same kind of issues that a lot of us have in trying to put a picture on what God is. And so he says this. I was thinking him possibly being a ball of energy that he might transform his hands into tools. He could be a ball of energy, but he is not in essence a ball of energy
In one place.
in one place.
But
Yes.
that's some words I want to use.
And I keep saying he because we're so used to using that pronoun he to describe God.
Culminated himself into a physical image. Okay, here's a good example of the image.
Mhm.
MRIs, medical field.
Yeah, yeah.
X-rays, image.
Mhm.
Now camera, pictures. Now here's what the Lord showed me. I saw this evangelist on television years ago when we was
It's
young.
sonograms, when they do sonograms.
Sonograms,
to see
that's
the
right.
fetus,
That's
in
right.
the womb.
And I was standing in front of a person, and this is what the Lord showed me how to do this. Spirit showed me how to do it. He said, look at the image of the person that I'm standing in front of.
Okay.
And Pastor Norman is going to help you a little bit now.
Oh, you
I
didn't
got
help
it.
him.
I
It's
got
gonna help
Who's
everybody.
gonna help him?
Well, that depends on what field of occupation you're
He
working in.
might already know.
Well, he might be, but that's all right. It bears repeating itself.
All right.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
that's just always reminder, I am your son.
You ought not be nasty like that.
Go ahead, I'm gonna hear it.
Okay. So here I am standing, and he told me one time when I was in my early 20s, he said, the people think that you are looking at something when they look in your eyes, and I am looking at something. And he said, he showed me how to see angels working with people, but I had to use this principle. What I did was stand there, and he said, look at the image, the energy field. Now we think this is not God, but it is. And so what I started doing, when I looked at a person, I could see inside of the knee or inside of the back and the spine and could see what was going on with it.
Mhm.
Now, I'm sitting at a table
Mhm.
day before yesterday. It's so much going on.
Kind of like the show The Good Doctor.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
And
The
he
good,
would have
the rough doctor.
He would have images of the body and what
Yeah,
was going on inside
that's
of the
it.
body.
Hollywood got a prime example of it.
And because he could see it, he
That's
could
right.
see what the
What the
solution
problem
was.
there it
Yes.
is.
Mhm.
That's what I was seeing. And I looked inside. I said, ma'am, I said, you had something done to your knee. And I described to her what I see. So I went inside of the kneecap. It's a universe in every body part.
Mhm.
He even let me go to a body part place in the dimensional world. And Jesus was the owner and manager over an auto parts house.
It was a parts house. Yeah.
Huh?
It was a parts house.
It was the parts house. And when I got there, Jesus was standing like I always see him. He's about 7 feet tall, or whatever need to fit your fancy. So, and so I'm standing there looking at him. And when I got there, I looked up at the shelf. Now, normally, to me, the shelf represents books because I collected them, a bunch of them. But this time I was standing there and I saw the image or the body parts of different people, bodies that was on earth. And I looked
actual people,
the actual body
just
parts,
generic body parts.
generic body parts.
Okay.
And so when I looked around, I saw skulls, knees, and it wasn't morbid.
It wasn't gross. Yeah.
It wasn't gross. And he was standing there, and I wanted to. He knew that without words, the knowing of the essence of we all are. He knew that I wanted to come behind the counter, and you don't go behind the counter of a business
Unless invited. Mm-hmm.
I experienced that this week at the bike shop. I was standing in front, and I went around to the side to show him something about a part I wanted to get. And I asked his brother, I said, am I out of place? He said, well, somewhat, but it's okay. But Jesus didn't give me the somewhat. He said to me, communicating telepathically, he said, oh, yeah, come on back. Now, I've had people and I mean, this favor, Pastor Norman and all you guys out there, if you're in the right position at certain business or places, I don't know how to say how you do it, but you get back there, they'll let you come back and look at the different items. I went to parts places to pick up certain wrenches and things. And the person that was at the front of the counter, I said, well, is it okay if I come back? And they said, yeah. That was him talking to me the way I saw him in that dimensional world that he took me to. And I've seen Jesus in different businesses behind the counter. He said, so the counter, it had a leaflet where you raise it up like a section of the counter raised up where you could go through it and then let it back down. And Jesus was standing on this side where I was. And he said, oh, yeah, it's okay. You can go back. So I went behind the counter. And when I went behind the counter, God Almighty, this is so real. Lord have mercy. I looked over to my left up in the corner, and there was no body part there. And Jesus said to me, he said, oh, don't worry about that. It don't be no body part there now. But he said, the Father will create it, which he was talking about us, him, the universe. He said, oh, Papa, the Father will create it. And then he showed me, he said, by insight, he said, every body part you see is related to every body part in every physical spirit being in the universe. But he said, what you don't see up there in that space is empty. He said, you will see it because the Papa will create it and show it to you. Now, I've had people in restaurants and in places of business just come right out and just say, come on back. even in doctor's office. Come on back.
Mhm.
Oh my God, this thing is so real. I'm standing in Bojangles the other day, and I just ordered a egg biscuit uh, sandwich. And while I was standing there, there was one, two, three, four of us standing there. And this guy had never seen me. And I was getting ready to take the money out, and he come up beside me. I thought maybe he was going to order something else, but he said to the girl that was standing behind the cash register, "Here, I'll pay for his food," just like that. "These signs shall follow them that are the belief." You're not believing; you are the belief of God.
Now you started off
Okay,
talking
okay,
about
okay. Parts.
the MRI,
MRI.
and the
Well, hold
imagery.
hold
Yeah,
your
I
hold your
don't want you to
horses.
get off
No,
track.
no, I'm not going to get off track. Hold your little form creatures. And so, dog,
I know you be taking the route, the
I know,
scenic
but I'm
route.
trying to.
Go ahead.
I'm
Okay.
taking time to wait for the right words to say.
Okay.
Now, hold it down. Now, you want to dance? Get off the wall. Hold it down.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
okay, okay. Here we go. And I come to find out that when I when I started at the door, I saw the father. I had a chance to sit at the table, and every once in a while, I would see an image of a person deceased when they was children, babies, and there was a psychologist, female that was sitting at the table who was connected to the young man. I had the most glorious time in about 30 minutes to an hour talking to him about this image. Now, here we go. He showed me how to turn my back to anybody, look at them first, and then turn around and see them looking at me from the out of the back of my head. This is the function of a cherub angelic being. They can see 4 directions at one time.
Mhm.
And I've experienced that of looking out the top of my head, looking at my right side, left side, back.
I thought I saw an eye back there.
That ain't funny. Don't you say it.
I say that.
I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist that. I couldn't resist that.
That was a good one,
She's
Bob.
trying to bake my cake. That's what she's doing. She's baking the cake in the pie. She's just trying to make biscuits and cornbread and everything. You see that?
Oh my
You
That
see
was a
what
good
you
one.
did?
That was a good one. I had to laugh at that one.
Now John mentioned this, and this is worth noting, that all of those machines that we mentioned, equipment we mentioned that have imagery like the MRI, X-rays,
Mhm.
sonograms, all of they work with bright light.
Ooh,
bright light.
wee.
Yeah.
So here we go now. Hold on. Get on your horse and settle down. We're going for a ride.
Mhm.
So I would look out in the audience and I could see a lot of people in church think that the gifts of the Spirit is something that comes to you or come on you, and you get the heebie-jeebies or shaking and carrying on. But let me tell you what the Lord showed me. He said, turn your back and tell them everything you see in the image of them. I would turn my back and I could see certain ones in the prayer line that just got out of the back seat of a car with a man or a girl or whatever.
Yeah, whatever happened.
Whatever they were, or
Yeah.
And so as I begin to do this, the more I practice it, the more details I would see.
Well, a lot of times I notice, and I've said this to you guys before, in watching Dad all through the years, I've noticed the mode that he gets in when that happens. And so there's a mode of
Modality.
there's a I didn't want to say mode. There is a strategy, a different seeing.
That's good.
A different seeing strategy that comes over him, and I call it soft gaze.
Okay.
soft gazing is like, I like interior decorating. So a lot of times when I'm trying to determine what a pattern would look like in a room, I would put it at a distance and then close my eyes just barely, leaving them open, and see just only the dominant color. So this is what Dad does, and not really deliberately does it, but it just goes into that. And you may
Spontaneous.
do it as well, Pastor Norman. Soft gazing, where you're looking at, but you're looking past.
Pass it.
Looking through,
Looking
looking
past
past.
it, looking through. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people think you're looking at them, but you're not looking at them. You're looking past them at that point.
I've seen her the last week or so. I'm sitting in the television room, and she's upstairs asleep. She's been in bed for a while. I'm up in the morning, 3 and 4 o'clock. I saw her come out of her body and come down the stairs and come around to the edge of the door where I'm sitting and look around the wall at my chair and look at me.
Mhm.
And she didn't stay long. She just looked at me and then back upstairs. Now I begin to,
And I do that. I have been doing that. I've been doing that.
So so when I started doing this, now a lot of times you'll see things and the mind will jump in there and say, I think you done missed it on this picture. You done missed it. So what I started doing was breaking the image up into a conversation, such as, it may be a nice day, or how you doing? It's good to see you. Good morning, all that kind of stuff. And what I'm doing, we call it what that the House speakers, the filibuster. They talk about filibustering. Yeah, you heard that
Yeah,
before.
you know how to
Yeah,
filibuster.
that's in politics. Yeah.
Politics. Well,
Well,
in,
Pastor Norman, what do you have? Is that the same mode that you find yourself in that imagery, that gifting of imagery?
You talking about soft gaze?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when I go in the zone of the prophetic
Mm-hmm.
and so forth, because most of the times when I operate like that, it's basically what I'm hearing. But there have been times when I will get into this mode where I will see, but I will have to see. I will see the whole picture and the surroundings, but I will only zoom into one particular thing, and that has happened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Some in this, we could talk about this forever, but there are different modalities, as Dad said earlier, prophetic modalities. All of us intuitively don't operate the same way.
Exactly.
Some are more prone to hearing, some are prone to seeing, some are more prone even to the smells of different smells.
olfactory.
It's olfactory. And then some are even prone to none of that. They just have a knowing.
Would you believe, and I know you would,
And
that,
some of the time, sometimes it's kinesthetic.
yeah, would you believe that when I was a little boy, body wise, I picked up how to do this living in moonshine bootlegging house, watching people and their reactions and things. And I didn't know that I was being trained in the darkest part of my life, of this life, how to see in the spirit world.
Well, we started off talking about the Genesis man.
Yeah, we're going to go back to it.
The Genesis man, and we're all that Genesis man. We are literally, all of us have some kind of gifting that some of us may not have even uncovered, but we all have some kind of gifting. And because we're swimming in divine intelligence. That's what we're swimming in.
Divine intelligence. That's what we are.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I don't know why this always happens, but I do know why it happens. But it's something, because that's actually the teaching that I was talking about on Sunday concerning we all have different manifestations of giftings, but it's the same spirit. The source is the same spirit. So you may have different manifestations, but It is all coming from the same source. Yep.
So I'm sitting in my office in a big building before we moved out. I'm sitting in the office, and then every Tuesday, Wednesday, I have counseling. And this lady comes in, and she was a psychologist at uh, Greensboro College. And she came in, and that day I wasn't expecting anything. And before she got ready to leave, I said, I see your cousin or family member crossing over. I see. Some of us are seers, hearers, knowers, feelers, all these gates.
You're a strong seer.
Yeah.
A very strong
And
seer.
that's why I make all my toys, and that the guy asked me to.
But like you said, you were conditioned or
I was
trained
conditioned.
based on your environment for that to be a strong ability. In you.
And let me tell you, you know how he trained me as the seer, and I can look back now. When they were making the expressway in Winston-Salem, Cherry Marshall Expressway, they used to have these open pan scrapers, big bulldozers and tractors. And I didn't have anything but a handsaw, hammer, and rusty nails. And my uncle had plenty of wood because he was a wood yard. He had a big wood yard, and he sold moonshine and everything else. So anyway, and so I would go up and on the sidewalk and watch the bulldozers and the way they work. So when they got off of work, they would leave those big machines with the big giant wheels on them. And I would go over there as a little boy and crawl up under the blades and look up under the tractor. And I wouldn't get up in it because, I was thinking somebody going to catch me, think I'm trying to steal a bulldozer,
So
And
would you say that everyone has had some type of conditioning that has equipped them for their gifting?
Every one of these lifetimes or this life that we've been through, we carry the infinite insight, education, and the degrees of how we are going to function supernaturally, I would say. Okay.
So funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's like I said, it's the same exact teaching on Sunday. I use for an example as a metaphor how you have in the house, of course, you have all these different things in the house. You can have a refrigerator, you can have a microwave, you can have all these different.
Yeah, there you go. Hot dog, boy.
And each one of them are different and have different functions, but they all get their power from the house.
Yeah,
And so and the house gets the power from the power plant. And so I did the whole demonstration at service on Sunday. Y'all talking about the exact same thing.
Good. And not only are those different appliances and getting it from the same source, you could take 3 different lamps, all of them are lamps, and put different wattage bulbs in each one. So each one is shining a light, but at a different wattage, at a different level of brightness. So while someone else, he's a master seer, someone else may come along who can see, but maybe not as much as the master seer, but they still see. So we're not clones. We have our own uniqueness.
Yeah. So now, what I enjoy and I miss, and I'm making up for it here and every place that I go. I used to love the classes that we used to have where I was teaching them how to, when to, what to. Now, here's the clue to operating in these areas. And you start off. You have to be willing to suspend yourself or spin yourself. And that's not what I want to say. Let me bring it back. Seek to the edifying of the body. Seek to edify. Seek to build a superstructure and reveal the structure foundations in others. Now, here's the clue to working these things in love, not judgment. I was around and seen a lot of guys that could read people like I mean, like nobody's
And,
business.
and there's some around like
And they're still like that. And
Yeah.
some of them use it for gain and for public and all that stuff and notoriety. And let me tell you, something, the gift and the calling is without repentance, which means once you learn how to do this, it is up to you to come out of the curse of the fall of man, which is separation, individuality. Now, the clue to operating in these areas, as I am aware of, and it becomes you, what you see and what you feel and what you know of your true identity, you become that. When I say become like futuristic, but you are already that. It's the thatness that you've always been. Like Adam had all this in him. Now watch this. And I missed those classes, and I would like to get back into that in a roundtable discussion like what we're having now. But as I began to practice more in services, I was able to go inside of people and look in their mouths and see where there was a tooth missing or behind the there she go. There she go,
years
Pastor.
ago we were down in South
Oh
Carolina.
Lord, there she go.
And,
There she go. Let me get it right.
it wasn't North Carolina. It wasn't North South Carolina. It was in that area.
Marion, no,
Marion,
Marion,
South
South
Carolina.
Carolina, Hank Reynolds.
At Hank Reynolds Church. And he was walking the floor, of course, like he always did, and ministered to people. And he stopped and he was ministering to this young lady. He said, I'm in the back of your mouth, and you would have to know Pastor Hank. Pastor Hank was the biggest comedian you
Yeah,
ever
he
seen
was
in your
something. He
life.
was something.
And when he said, I'm in the back of your mouth, Hank stood up and said, get out of there.
We used to have the best time with them. These people.
This is the church that bought. Do you remember the big satellite dishes they used to have?
Yes.
Churches started showing other ministries over the satellite dish, and it had a crank.
Bob Larson or something like that.
Yeah, it had a crank. Well, Bob Tilton was
Robert
big
Tilton.
at the time.
Robert Tilton.
So yeah, Robert Tilton, and it had to crank it to turn that big old dish.
Somebody had to go outside.
Get the signal.
Yeah.
Well, how about they was in church? This is the same church now, Hank Reynolds Church. Somebody was out there in the back turning that crank.
Just the winding that thing. I'm cranking the crank, and it's turning.
And
too.
The church was packed. And it got stuck on the porn channel.
Yeah, it did. True.
Oh no!
Naked women and men and doing their thing and everything right there in church, and he was still out there cranking it. Nobody told him to stop.
He was trying to.
Oh my God!
It was stuck on us. They had a grand finale. They had a glory hallelujah time watching it.
They had a grand experience.
It was a service they never forgot.
I bet you they did.
Oh God!
We have seen some.
Jesus!
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
So these are the footsteps of the Lord that walk in my feet and made imprints in different places. Now, here's the clue to this. If you're ready, if you're willing, how God gave Jesus and how Jesus was put over into the hands of men to be crucified. Once you understand how this works, you'll understand why the psychics and all the people, I studied them for years, and you know all about this, because I wanted to sharpen this to the degree to where I would be able to help people. And a lot of people, and some still do, come to me or try to get me to come. They don't, not as much now. We're not in a building, but they come to hear, to see what I'm going to say to them. And see, one of the things I picked up about this in the image of God, one thing that I picked up is that you have to stay into the middle middle world of out of the sophisticated reasoning that gives off the idea that when you say I can do this and I can do that, you have to be careful and know how to hear your voice or the voice that's coming out of you, like Jesus did with Peter when he said thou art the Christ, and then he changed and said certain things other. You have to be able to discern yourself, and my Bishop Patterson showed me how to do that by confrontations. And every confrontation is sharpening you more to be able to bless. Now, here's the blessings. The blessing, hold on for a minute. The blessings are if you are ready to use this to help people, to edify, to build them up, and to not be a show and not be an expert. All of these things have to be dealt with in you. And some of these things are not going to be dealt with until you go through the experience of seeing them. Yeah. Now, this puts me back to where we started out with what I saw about the parts house. And the Lord showed me that all the parts that we needed to impart and put inside of people is inside of us. Mm-hmm. And so what I started doing was not, in certain cases, I would say, can I pray for you? Yeah. Or can I, affirm certain things? But when I learned how to operate in first person, I had to deal with, and I still deal with now. I had to deal with the doubtful self, or the critical self, or the judgmental self, which is not me. It's not none of us. Mm-hmm. Because the pure heart does not judge, and it does not exalt itself. It does not want to be seen. But now here's my point. I saw today what sickness looks like in the mental psychological world of the mind of our government. That's what I wanted to say. That's right. I don't have to point no names out or anything. Everybody that I talked to so far are in a transition of dealing with the sickness and the plague that causes separation, division, the Republicans and the Democrats, and the Baptists, the Methodists, and the Holiness. All of that is a sickness. Mm-hmm. I saw today what Alzheimer's looked like in our government. I saw it today, and I know now why certain people, when I would say certain things to them, I asked the guy today, I said, has any of this stuff that we've been seeing on television with our government affected you? He said, what you mean? When he said, what you mean, I heard that sickness come out of his mouth. And what I was hoping he would say was no and drop it at that, or yes and drop it at that. But no, his tone said, I picked up his tone image. It said, what do you mean? I said, well, there's a lot of people that lost their jobs and they've been put off with their jobs. And I said, they are suffering with their families, and some of the people that agreed to the present now government to take place in the earth, they are suffering, but yet the persons in our government that initiated this suffering, the one that initiated these suffering points of jobs and medical facilities and government and Social Security and all that stuff, I said, where did that come from? He said to me, this is what Spirit said, it comes from a disease that stems out of the ego. And this disease is in DC and other places all over the country. The protesting that you hear about now is coming about because of the sickness. Everybody seemed to think that in Adam and Eve's case, that sin was them eating of the forbidden fruit. The sin was not the eating of the fruit, nor the sin of Lucifer or Satan being in a serpent. The sin was From the beginning, Adam was God, and it never left. It could not be reneged. It cannot be reversed. But it was used as a catalyst to spearhead the ego into the deeper sickness of separation. So he showed me tonight that the biggest problem with certain governmental positions of leaders in the country fighting against each other to shut down certain things is a disease. It is a mental, psychological sickness. And you will see this, after all of you guys will see this, and it cannot be stopped, but only one way: waking up. Now, there would be no need of waking up if there was never a disease called sleep. The disease of sleep puts our governmental dignitaries or positionalities into a state of hurt, harm, fear, danger, rejection, and war. The war is the sickness. The fight that we see on television is a disease that everybody got, but everybody is sick in a certain percentage of separation from their true identity. That's my case right there. I rest my case.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it. And he is still explaining. I said, explain to me why this is going on in our political arena and the earth itself. He said, it is the curse. I said, well, what is the curse? He said, the curse is not some kind of disease like we say the COVID and all that stuff. All of this comes because shutting down help for the invalid, the research departments and all of this. That shutdown is hurt, harm, and danger. Love your neighbor. You can't do that in your diseased self. The operation of the new birth experience and being born again and all these terminologies is another way for God to put in the earth how to get back to your whole self, which is the Christ that we've all have and will always be. But some of them got a plague, COVID, and the damn panic or the ham sandwich, whatever it is, without the lettuce and tomatoes, rotten hot dogs and whatever you want to call it, hogs and pigs. That's all the result. And if you go back in Genesis, not anything was murdered or killed in order for them to eat. They ate the fruit of the land. Did you know that when Cain tried to kill Abel, that was a sickness of trying to kill God? You can't kill God. That's the reason why it said in Genesis, the blood of your brother cried out in the earth. Now go to the heart. At the core of the earth is the boiling fire, a blazing fire that will never go out. What was going on in the days of Noah was the earth was regurgitating itself because of the depthness of the sickness that was in man that caused man to try to kill each other. And you can't kill God. That's the reason why the body, when it is wore out and we are through with it in our divine self, we leave it. It don't die and leave us. We leave it because it has served its purpose in the diseased world, and you leave it to go into another transition of your divine self. We call it dimensions, levels, higher heights and deeper depths. Ain't nothing but a mess of chitlins on the counter. It ain't hitting on nothing, and it ain't gonna be nothing but a school, not a courthouse. It's a school. It's not a courthouse for judgments and picking faults in others and trying to say, oh, the guy said to me, this president that was before the one that we got now, he messed it up. There's no finger pointing. There's no finger pointing in your divine Christ identity. The man that kept carried the cross up the streets of the hill of Jerusalem, wherever it was, he was divinely ordered to go in this place. But I will say this to all of us. There's not a king in the Bible or in the Course in Miracles, I don't care what king he is, that when he hurt people, Paul was on the Damascus road, he said, it's hard to kick against the prick. You can't hurt people without dealing with God. And God is not out to revenge himself. Like some political government said, they said in the news, he wants to get even with everybody that did not agree with him. That is God showing us through him that this cannot last. A house divided against itself will not stand. So as long as we are in this body with a disease of separation and pointing the finger, this house will not stand, and it's going to change. So the earth is going through a metamorphosis, as well as the people going through a metamorphosis, a medical morphosis, a medical mandate morphosis, and it's not going to stop until, watch this, it's not going to stop until God gets ready to move over into a different classroom of research and study to shut this thing down. They done had all kinds of lawsuits filing against certain political parties, and they wiggle and worm out of it every time. Even the judges cannot hold him down. I know somebody's going to hold the whole thing down, and I ain't passing judgment on nobody. All I can tell you, it is over when it's over, and it will be over, and it's going toward that direction. Mark it in your books. Mark it in the books. It will be brought to a stop. But here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you exactly what I see. The mental status of the one that is executing this stuff, he is already lost his mind. You ain't seen nothing yet when he loses his behind and his mind at the same time, at the same place, the same station, the same movie, the same horseback ride, the same venture, the same investigation, the same. No one gets past the Spirit of God or the God identity. Come on, grab this thing and ride it and look at what God is showing you tonight and going to show you through the country. Woo! God Almighty. I'm not prophesying. I'm not just talking to you out the side of my neck or my knee or my toes. I'm telling you, this is not going to last.
Exactly.
I rest my case. I could say more, but I'm going to shut up. I'm going to rest my case. Hey, don't you crack over that.
No, I'm going to come to your rescue.
Thank you. Oh, glory be to God. Thank you, Dean.
And the reason why is because some of the same stuff you said, like I said, there's so much similarity. And like I had to share Sunday, people got to understand. And if anyone that's actually awakened or enlightened, I know we try to avoid not making reference or speaking on what's going on, but that is impossible because that's part of the whole thing of awakening.
The school.
Exactly. So when you kept talking about dis-ease, people got to understand dis-ease is just simply a disorder of structure and
You'll be past that. You know what she said?
Dis-ease.
She said, I need a potato chip on that.
She said what? She needed a what?
She said, I need a potato chip on that.
Oh, a Pringle on that? Yeah. But when you kept making reference to that, people gotta understand what a is disease, but we break it up and say disease is a disorder of structure and function within man, which means man is totally unstable. And that's what's happening is so much unstableness, and we're seeing it in our leadership and so forth. And so that's what the sickness is the structure and the function of man is out of order.
Pastor, you know what you just said to me? It's called diarrhea at the mouth.
Oh Lord Jesus. Well, one thing I know, if you want to, if they want to overcome, I don't want to mention his name.
Yeah, that's
If
okay.
they don't want to, if they want to overcome him, pay him no attention, ignore him.
We said that, didn't we?
Because see, what
And
they don't
feed,
realize that
feed.
they're doing, they're feeding the force that's behind him. It ain't him. It's the force, the
It's the
spirit.
disease.
It's feeding. And so
The
when it becomes
disease.
hungry, it will literally cause disruption so that people will start talking about it, and then you start feeding him again. And that's his ego.
Eaters.
So he
Yeah,
That's
purposely
right.
feeds, because if there's nothing going on, he is getting no attention. So
yeah.
he
You remember,
purposely has to do stuff to disrupt so he can get some attention.
yeah, do you remember we talked about this some time back, but in Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, it talks about the pain body.
Mm-hmm.
There, evidently, there has been a dense pain body
Yep.
in our
Yep.
country, in our nation. And now it is feeding.
Yep. Feeders.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So it's feeding, and as Dad said, it has to come to, it will come to an end, because all it does always come to an end whenever there's a pain feeding like that. And it's some, but I do say this on a positive note, that everything that is happening, and you said it, Pastor Norman, and it is so true, that everything that is happening is for the purpose of waking all of us up.
That's right.
And it is causing some of us who are being challenged to come up with all kinds of innovative ways to get around these kinds of things that are happening. And I think it's going to bring out some good as well as some of the challenges that we've had.
And one of the pain bodies that I know he's dealing with, and the Lord revealed this to me, if you notice, and this is why he's so competitive, and this is why he keeps bringing up Biden's name, because in both of the elections that he won, he did not beat a man.
That's true.
He did not what?
He did not win over a male. Both of the elections that he won, he beat Hillary and he beat.
That's right. That's the fact.
True.
When it came to Biden, he lost to Biden, and that still yet upsets him.
Mhm.
That's a thorn in his ego. That's why he has to keep bringing up, and that's why he's trying to do what he's doing to Biden's family now, and trying to overturn everything that Biden established, because he lost to Biden. He only won against two females.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And the Lord showed me that today.
Yes.
Are you guys out there listening to us? If you
They are. And Virginia said, well said. And we have been on here 18 minutes over time, but Dad had to get that out. I'm sure he had to get that
Who is
out.
David Singleton?
He's been with us before.
He's a member of my church. He's a member.
Okay.
David's been with us before.
I didn't remember. I saw the name. Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, Miss Virginia. We're trying to say the unsaid and be as polite and as compassionate and sensitive to the infinite self that we are, without pointing the finger. But it's okay, and I hope that we said something that will cause you to be able to function more from your higher self than the lower dimensions of the dark age.
Okay.
I said, okay.
I've got a couple of things I need to say before we get offline tonight. I want to first of all acknowledge Kathy brought out how Kathy, and I hope you're still with us. She said this earlier when we started, that she had mentioned way back when we started
right.
going live. She needed to connect with her daughter and her grandchildren.
Oh,
and
that's
so
so
she
wonderful.
Finally had a chance to reconnect with her daughter and her grandchildren. And She said they live right here in Oak Cross Park in Kernersville. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'd like to meet them. I'd like to see them.
Well, they're close to us. They're close to us, sweetie pie. Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And Sister Anita was on here again tonight with us. I'm glad Neat was on here with us. She's talking about possibly getting together in around Easter time, like we did for our birthdays and stuff. Just having another gathering and all. And I need to remind you guys, and for some who may not have heard it from the when we started this this evening, Mama Christine Williams is in the hospital. She had a stroke on day before yesterday, early morning, and she's in the hospital, stable, but just be in prayer with her because she's going to have a road to recovery. And also, Brother Charles transitioned on Sunday morning. Charles Stevens transitioned on Sunday morning. So we have all of those things facing us this week, but we're just grateful that everything at the moment is being handled properly, and we're all okay. So we'll see you again on Sunday, hopefully, if nothing happens, and when nothing happens, and we'll be right back.
And the creek don't rise and overflood, we gonna be right here live and in color. That's the old song we used to sing. I'm gonna tell it like it is. Tell it like it is. Oh, tell it like it is
tonight. I think you told it. I had to get me a potato chip.
You had to get you a chip.
I had to get me a chip.
There's a cloud over the ocean.
To deal with it, I had to get me a chip. The only thing I have deal with Dad is I know what he's saying is so true. I don't doubt that at all, and I agree with everything that he's saying. I don't like to get too involved with it, and I try to encourage him not to watch too much of the news and stuff. It will keep you upset if you stay on it too much. But I do believe that everything that he said about it is true. So we will wait until we see some unfoldment, and in the meantime, stay in your place of peace.
Yeah, we're not saying that to try to win the Academy Award on being right. No, we ain't going that way. What you got there in your hand?
I'm giving you Academy Award.
Nor are we saying that for people who may have voted for that
particular party.
We're not coming against that. So I don't want anyone.
Nor are we saying I told you. No,
I don't want anyone to.
No, you go out in the woods and find you a fresh pig with a.
It's simple.
Leave it to that.
These things, like I keep saying it over and over, these things has to happen. They has to come because, like Ma just said, it's part of the awakening. So we're not like when I have to touch on certain things by the leading of the Spirit, I have to let them know again. And I'm gonna say this on here: I am not a registered Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. I am who I am. Period. And so, again, if we can understand that we can have differences but still yet be reasonable and work together, see, that's the thing that I want everybody to be evident of. Because just like I shared Sunday, I said, now you have two parties. You have the Democrat and the Republicans. They have each have their own agendas, and they're at war with one another. And now we're seeing that there's wars that's developing within each party. You got Republicans.
Right.
The Democratic Party is falling apart. That's
likely,
again the disease.
Yeah. It's likely that all of these systems are being dismantled.
And that's scripture. Everything that can be shaken in the heavens and in the earth shall be shaken. And that's what's happening. And that's why I try to encourage people, do not allow yourself to get connected, because there was a scripture I wanted to use earlier when God told Moses, dealing with the 10 Commandments, make no graven image.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what we're seeing. We're putting systems and ideologies and so forth above him. And that all of that will fall apart. It won't stand. And so Dad was absolutely right. This thing is going to come to an end. And I'm not afraid to say it, but it's not going to be favorable in some
cases. That's right.
exactly, because again, you're not walking in love.
I heard it said like this, Pastor. When Kamala, the female, was in position for leader of the country, I heard a guy say to me at the auto place, I don't want no woman telling me what to do.
That's the disease you were
That's
talking
the sickness
about.
I'm talking about.
Yes, that's
Well,
the disease.
and I knew that was going to happen, that the state of man, and that's why I keep saying the state of mankind,
Yes.
especially in this nation, they were not ready to accept a woman to be the leader.
It wasn't.
They still yet are dealing with their egos.
And that's got it. I asked Spirit, will there be a time for a female to be in that position, fully loaded?
There may be, but not now.
Not now.
I was saying the words of Lord, I forgot his name. They'll be on the YouTube thing all the time. Larry Reed. I'm saying the words of Larry Reed. That's what America needs, is a woman right now, and a mother.
Yeah.
A feminine energy, yes.
Exactly. A mother. Yes.
A feminine energy that's softer, yes.
In the meantime, back at the ranch,
we shall return.
I said, like I always said, tie it down on the right side and the left side of the road, hold it in the middle, and keep it working.
If Dad keep talking, I'm gonna have to eat another potato chip.
Hey, Killer Rock record training therapy, rheumatism.
Oh my land, we gotta get off of here.
I ain't going nowhere.
These people got things to do.
Oh, they ain't got nothing to do.
Go to bed.
They set this time aside just for us to meet each other and talk.
We love you guys. Don't forget to pray for Mama Chris, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Okay, bye.
See you on the turnaround.
Right.